What would you do if the person you loved most betrayed you from beyond the grave? And what if a 16-year-old boy was the only one who could save you from losing everything? My name is Marlena Rivers. I'm 28 years old, and I thought I knew what heartbreak felt like. I was wrong. Have you ever stood in a courtroom watching your entire world crumble? Has someone you trusted completely ever made you question everything you believed about love? The judge's gavel felt like thunder in the silent room. My stepson Tyler sat beside me, his hands shaking as badly as mine. Across the aisle, Vanessa Cross smoothed her perfect black dress and smiled like she'd already won. "Your Honor," Vanessa's lawyer began, "we have compelling evidence that Mrs. Rivers manipulated this child. A grieving teenager cannot make such important decisions about his future." Tyler squeezed my hand. 3 months ago, when his father died, he chose me. Not his biological mother, who abandoned him. Not his wealthy grandmother. Me. His stepmother of 3 years. The lawyer continued, "Tyler Rivers was clearly influenced by financial incentives and emotional manipulation." My heart stopped. Financial incentives? I worked 2 jobs just to keep our apartment. Furthermore, the lawyer said, reaching into his briefcase, "We have documented proof that Mrs. Rivers has been lying about her relationship with the deceased." Do you know someone who's experienced betrayal this deep? Someone who discovered that everything they thought was real was actually a lie? Vanessa stood up slowly, her eyes locked on mine. She pulled out a thick folder and handed it to her lawyer. "What we're about to present will shock everyone in this courtroom," she announced. The lawyer opened the folder and smiled. "Mrs. Rivers," he said, "isn't just Tyler's stepmother. According to these documents, she was never legally married to Richard Rivers at all." The courtroom erupted. Tyler gasped. The judge banged his gavel repeatedly. But Vanessa wasn't finished. She reached into her purse and pulled out something that made my blood freeze. A marriage certificate. With Richard's signature. And hers. Dated 6 months before Richard died. 6 months earlier, everything was perfect. At least I thought it was. Richard Rivers was 45 when I met him at the coffee shop where I worked. I was 25, saving money for nursing school, and tired of dating guys my age who still lived with their parents. He ordered the same thing every Tuesday morning. Large black coffee, no sugar, and a blueberry muffin. Always left a $5 tip on a $3 order. "You don't have to tip so much," I told him one morning. He smiled. "My son Tyler says I'm too generous. Maybe you two should meet." That's how I knew Richard was different. Most men hide their kids when they're dating. Richard talked about Tyler constantly. Tyler was 13 then. Angry at the world, angry at his mom for leaving, angry at his dad for working so much. When Richard brought me home for dinner, Tyler barely looked up from his phone. "Tyler, this is Marlena," Richard said nervously. "Cool," Tyler mumbled. But I saw something in his eyes. Not anger. Loneliness. Over the next few months, I learned Tyler's story. His mother, Jessica, had left when he was 8. Just packed her bags one day and moved to California with her boyfriend. She sent birthday cards twice a year and called every few months when she felt guilty. Richard tried to be both parents. He worked construction during the day and took online business classes at night. He wanted to build something better for Tyler. I started spending more time at their house. Making dinner, helping Tyler with homework, teaching him to drive when he turned 16. "You know he loves you, right?" Richard told me one night. "Tyler's a good kid," I said. "No, I mean really loves you. Like a mom." That's when I knew I was falling for both of them. Richard proposed on Tyler's 16th birthday. Tyler actually smiled when he saw the ring. "Finally," Tyler said. "I was getting tired of waiting for you to make it official." We had a small wedding at the courthouse. Tyler was our witness. My parents flew in from Ohio. Richard's mother came, though she made it clear she thought he was moving too fast. For 3 months, we were a real family. Then Richard collapsed at work. Massive heart attack. He was dead before the ambulance arrived. The funeral home smelled like cheap flowers and sorrow. Tyler hadn't spoken in 2 days. He sat in the front row wearing his father's tie, staring at the casket like he could bring Richard back through sheer willpower. I held his hand during the service. Richard's mother sat on Tyler's other side, dabbing her eyes with tissues. My parents had flown back to Ohio after the viewing. They had jobs to get back to, they said. The pastor talked about Richard's kindness, his dedication to Tyler, his love for family. I tried to listen, but all I could think about was how empty our house would feel without Richard's laugh echoing through the halls. After the service, people lined up to offer condolences. Tyler shook hands like a robot. I accepted hugs from Richard's co-workers and neighbors. That's when I saw her. A woman in a black designer dress walking toward us. She was beautiful in that polished way that screams money. Blonde hair, perfect makeup, expensive jewelry. She looked like she'd never worked a day in her life. "Excuse me," she said to the funeral director. "I need to speak with the family." The funeral director looked confused. "Ma'am, the family is right here." The woman looked at me and Tyler, then smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. "I don't think you understand," she said loudly. Everyone in the funeral home turned to stare. "I'm Vanessa Cross, Richard Rivers' wife." The room went silent. Tyler's hand tightened on mine. "I'm sorry," I said carefully, "but I'm Richard's wife. We've been married for 3 months. Vanessa laughed. It sounded like glass breaking. "Oh, honey," she said, reaching into her purse. "You might want to sit down for this." She pulled out a folder and handed me a document. Marriage certificate. Richard Eugene Rivers and Vanessa Marie Cross. Dated 6 months ago. 2 months before Richard married me. Tyler stood up so fast his chair fell over. "That's impossible. Dad wouldn't." "Wouldn't what, sweetie?" Vanessa said. "Wouldn't marry the woman he actually loved?" My hands shook as I stared at the certificate. Richard's signature looked real. The state's seal looked official. "This has to be fake," I whispered. Vanessa smiled again. "Call the courthouse if you want. Better yet, call Richard's lawyer. I think you'll find that your little courthouse ceremony was meaningless. Richard was already married to me." She turned to Tyler. "Don't worry, baby. I know this is confusing, but you're coming to live with me now. I've already spoken to the courts." Tyler stepped backward. "No. I'm not going anywhere with you. I don't even know you." "You'll get to know me," Vanessa said sweetly. "We have plenty of time." The funeral director was making phone calls. Richard's mother was crying. The few remaining mourners whispered among themselves. Vanessa leaned close to me. "I hope you enjoyed playing house," she whispered, "because the game is over." The lawyer's office felt like a trap. Dark wood paneling, heavy books, and the smell of old money. Tyler sat beside me, his leg bouncing nervously. Across from us, Mr. Peterson, Richard's lawyer, shuffled through papers with shaking hands. "I'm afraid Mrs. Cross is correct," he said finally. "Richard's marriage to Vanessa Cross is legally binding. Your ceremony, Mrs. Rivers, was unfortunately invalid." The words hit me like a physical blow. Tyler made a sound like he'd been punched. "But how is that possible?" I asked. "Richard never mentioned another wife. We lived together for 2 years before we got married." Mr. Peterson looked uncomfortable. "It appears Richard was living a double life. According to these documents, he maintained relationships with both you and Mrs. Cross simultaneously." Tyler jumped up. "That's bull. My dad wouldn't do that. He loved Marlena. He told me so." "I understand this is difficult," Mr. Peterson said gently. "But the legal facts are clear. Mrs. Cross inherits everything. The house, the business, the life insurance policy." "What about Tyler?" I demanded. "Tyler is a minor. He'll need a guardian. Mrs. Cross has petitioned the court for custody." "No way," Tyler said. "I'm not living with her. I choose Marlena." Mr. Peterson sighed. "It's not that simple. Mrs. Cross is your father's legal widow. She has significant rights in this matter." "But I'm 16. Don't I get a say?" "You do, but the court will consider many factors. Financial stability, family relationships, living arrangements." I felt everything slipping away. Our home, our life together, Tyler himself. "How much time do we have?" I asked. The custody hearing is scheduled for next week. Next week. 7 days to prove I could take care of Tyler better than a woman with money, lawyers, and legal documentation. There's something else, Mr. Peterson added quietly. Mrs. Cross has frozen all of Richard's accounts pending the estate settlement. That includes your joint checking account. My heart sank. I had maybe $300 in my personal account. Rent was due in 2 weeks. Tyler and I left the lawyer's office in silence. We sat in my old Honda for 10 minutes, not talking. I won't go with her, Tyler said finally. Tyler. I mean it. I'll run away first. That night, we sat in our empty house eating pizza we couldn't afford. Tomorrow, I'd have to start packing. Vanessa wanted us out by Friday. I was loading the dishwasher when I heard Tyler's bedroom door slam. Then I heard something that made my blood freeze. Car doors slamming in our driveway. I looked out the kitchen window and saw a police cruiser parked behind a black Mercedes. Vanessa stepped out of the Mercedes, followed by a man in a suit. They were coming to take Tyler. The doorbell rang 3 times before I could force myself to move. Tyler appeared at the top of the stairs, his face pale. Don't answer it, he whispered. But I had to. Running would only make things worse. Officer Martinez stood on our porch next to Vanessa and her lawyer. He looked apologetic but determined. Ma'am, I have a court order granting temporary custody of Tyler Rivers to Mrs. Vanessa Cross. My legs felt weak. Temporary? Until the hearing next week, Vanessa said smoothly. Don't worry. Tyler will be perfectly safe with me. Tyler appeared beside me. I'm not going. Son, Officer Martinez said gently, I understand this is hard, but you have to come with us. She's not my family, Tyler said, his voice cracking. Marlena is my family. Vanessa's perfect smile never wavered. Tyler, sweetie, I know your father loved Marlena very much, but I'm your legal guardian now. We need to get to know each other. Where am I supposed to live? Tyler demanded. I have a beautiful house in Millfield. Your own bedroom, your own bathroom. Much nicer than this place. Millfield, the rich part of town. 40 minutes from Tyler's school, his friends, everything familiar. Can I pack some things? Tyler asked quietly. Officer Martinez nodded. Tyler ran upstairs. I heard drawers slamming, hangers rattling. This is temporary, I told Vanessa. Is it? She asked. Because from where I stand, you don't have much to offer a teenage boy. No money, no house, no stability. I have love. Vanessa laughed. Love doesn't pay for college. Tyler came downstairs with a backpack and his guitar case. His eyes were red, but he wasn't crying. He hugged me tight. 1 week, he whispered. Then I'm coming home. I wanted to promise him everything would be okay. But watching him walk toward Vanessa's Mercedes, I wasn't sure of anything anymore. The police car followed them down our street. I stood in the doorway until their taillights disappeared. The house felt enormous and empty. I walked through each room, remembering. Richard's coffee mug still sat in the sink. Tyler's homework was spread across the kitchen table. I was about to turn off the lights when my phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. Marlena, it's Tyler. I'm using Vanessa's phone. Something's wrong here. Really wrong. She's not who she says she is. My hands shook as I typed back. What do you mean? Can't talk now. She's coming. But Marlena, I found something in her room. Pictures of Dad, with other women. Lots of other women. The phone went silent. I tried calling back. Straight to voicemail. 20 minutes later, another text. Phone taken. But I heard her on the phone with someone. She said the boy doesn't suspect anything yet, and the fool left everything to me just like the others. What others, Marlena? What others? Have you ever felt like you were losing your mind? Like everything you thought you knew was crumbling beneath your feet? Tyler's last message haunted me all night, just like the others. What others? By morning, I had a plan. If Vanessa was hiding something, I was going to find it. Do you know someone who's been driven to desperate measures? Someone who had to become a detective just to save their family? I started at the public library. The librarian, Mrs. Henderson, had known Richard since high school. She helped me search online databases for any mention of Vanessa Cross. Here's something, Mrs. Henderson whispered, pointing at her computer screen. Vanessa Cross, married to David Martinez, Phoenix, Arizona. Widowed 2 years ago. My heart stopped. Widowed. She clicked another link. Robert Chun, Seattle, Washington. Also married to Vanessa Cross. Died of heart failure 8 months ago. The room started spinning. 3 husbands. All dead. There's more, Mrs. Henderson said quietly. Michael Thompson, Denver, Colorado. Car accident last year. Also married to Vanessa Cross. I stared at the screen. 4 dead husbands in 3 years. Mrs. Henderson, I whispered, I think Richard was murdered. That afternoon, I drove to the next town over and found an internet cafe. I couldn't risk using my own computer in case Vanessa was watching me somehow. I searched for the families of Vanessa's other husbands. David Martinez had a daughter named Sophia. Robert Chun had a son, Kevin. Michael Thompson had 2 kids. Where were they now? I found Sophia Martinez on Facebook. She was 19, living with her grandmother in Phoenix. Her profile said, "Rest in peace, Dad. The truth will come out." I sent her a message. My name is Marlena Rivers. I think Vanessa Cross killed my husband too. Please call me. My phone rang 20 minutes later. Oh my God, Sophia said, crying. I've been waiting for someone to believe me. Nobody would listen. What happened to your dad? Heart attack just like yours. But he was healthy. He ran marathons. The day before he died, he told me he was thinking about divorcing Vanessa. Said something didn't feel right about their marriage. My hands were shaking. Did you try to tell the police? They said there was no evidence. Vanessa inherited everything and moved away. I've been trying to track her down ever since. Sophia, she has my stepson, a 16-year-old boy.
Silence.
Then, David had a stepson too.
Jake.
He was 15 when Dad died. Where is Jake now? Sophia's voice broke. Missing. He ran away from Vanessa's house 3 days after the funeral. Nobody's seen him since. The cafe suddenly felt freezing cold. There's something else, Sophia whispered. I hired a private investigator last year. He found something before he stopped working on the case. What did he find? Life insurance policies. Vanessa takes out huge policies on all her husbands right after they marry. My dad's was worth $2 million. $2 million. Richard's policy was worth the same amount. Sophia, the investigator, who stopped working on the case. What happened to him? Long pause. Car accident. Single vehicle crash on a mountain road. I hung up and sat in the parking lot for an hour, my mind racing. Vanessa wasn't just a gold digger. She was a serial killer. And she had Tyler. I was about to drive home when my phone buzzed. Text message from Tyler's number. Meet me at Riverside Park tonight. 9 p.m. Come alone. Don't tell anyone. Tyler. Something felt wrong about the message. Tyler always ended his texts with a heart emoji. This one was too formal. But what if he was in real danger? What if this was my only chance to save him? Have you ever walked into a trap knowing it was a trap? Sometimes you have no choice. Riverside Park at night was darker than I expected. The streetlights barely worked, and fog rolled off the water like something from a horror movie. I parked near the playground and checked my phone. 8:55 p.m. No sign of Tyler. A car pulled up behind me. Black sedan with tinted windows. My heart pounded as the driver's door opened. Tyler stepped out, but something was wrong. He moved stiffly, like someone was watching him. Tyler. I called softly. He turned toward me, and that's when I saw her. Vanessa emerged from the passenger side, smiling that cold smile I was learning to hate. Hello, Marlena, she called. Thanks for coming. This was definitely a trap. Have you ever had to choose between your safety and someone you love? Would you walk into danger to protect your family? I got out of my car slowly. I thought Tyler wanted to meet me. Oh, he did, Vanessa said, walking closer. But I thought it would be better if we all talked together. Like a family. Tyler looked terrified. His eyes kept darting to something behind me. Tyler, are you okay? I'm fine, he said, but his voice was too loud, too forced. Vanessa put her arm around Tyler's shoulders. He flinched. You know, Marlena, I've been doing some research on you too, Vanessa said conversationally. Did you know your credit score is terrible? And you're behind on your car payments. How did she know that? Tyler deserves better than a struggling waitress who can barely take care of herself. I'm not a waitress anymore. I'm going back to nursing school. Vanessa laughed. With what money? Richard's insurance went to me, remember? That's when Tyler spoke up. Tell her about the others, Vanessa. Vanessa's smile faltered for just a second. What others, sweetie? The other husbands. David, Robert, Michael. Tell her what happened to their kids. My blood turned to ice. Tyler knew about the other victims. Vanessa's friendly act dropped instantly. Tyler, we talked about this. You're confused. I'm not confused. I found your laptop. I saw everything. Tyler. Insurance policies. Death certificates. Bank transfers. You're a serial killer. The park went completely silent except for the sound of water lapping against the shore. Vanessa reached into her purse. Run, Marlena, Tyler shouted, breaking away from her. She's gotta? But I couldn't hear the rest because a car engine roared to life behind me. Headlights flooded the park, blinding me. I spun around and saw another black sedan racing toward us. Tyler grabbed my hand. This way. We ran toward the woods as tires squealed behind us. I heard Vanessa screaming orders at someone. Tyler, what's happening? She's been planning this for weeks, he panted as we crashed through the trees. She wants to make it look like an accident, like we both died trying to run away together. Branches scraped my face. My lungs burned. Behind us, car doors slammed. Flashlights swept through the woods. This way, Tyler whispered, pulling me toward the river. We reached the water's edge. Across the river, I could see lights from houses. Safety. Can you swim? Tyler asked. Before I could answer, a flashlight beam found us. There. Vanessa's voice echoed through the trees. Don't let them reach the water. Two men in dark clothes emerged from the woods behind her. One of them was holding something that looked like a gun. Jump! Tyler yelled. We hit the freezing water just as something whistled over our heads. The current was stronger than I expected. Tyler disappeared under the black water. Tyler! I screamed, swallowing river water. A hand grabbed my ankle and pulled me down. Under the water, I saw a face I didn't recognize. One of Vanessa's men had followed us into the river. I tried to kick free, but his grip was too strong. My lungs screamed for air. Stars danced at the edges of my vision. This was how I was going to die. Drowning in a river while trying to save my stepson. Then suddenly the hand let go. I broke the surface, gasping. Tyler was treading water next to me, holding a large rock. I hit him, Tyler panted. But there's another one coming. On the shore, Vanessa stood with her remaining partner, both pointing flashlights at us. You can't hide forever, she called. And when they find your bodies, everyone will think you were running away together. How romantic. The current carried us downstream, away from the lights. But I knew she was right. We couldn't run forever. And she had resources we didn't. As we struggled toward the opposite shore, Tyler grabbed my arm. Marlena, he whispered urgently. Before we got separated earlier, I managed to hide something. Something that proves everything. What? Photos from her laptop. Names, dates, bank records. I uploaded them to a cloud account. Hope flickered in my chest. Where? That's the problem. The password is on a piece of paper in my backpack. And my backpack is in Vanessa's car. Behind us, I heard engines starting up. They were driving around to the other side of the river. We had maybe 10 minutes before they found us again. Tyler looked at me with determined eyes. We have to go back, Marlena. We have to get that backpack. Tyler, that's suicide. It's the only way to stop her. She's going to keep killing people until someone stops her. In the distance, I saw headlights crossing the bridge. Coming for us. And there's something else, Tyler said quietly. Something I didn't tell you.
What?
She didn't just kill my dad. She bragged about how she did it. The headlights were getting closer. Tyler, we have to move. Marlena, she poisoned him. Slowly, over months. Made it look like heart problems. The pieces clicked into place. Richard's fatigue in those last months. The chest pains he said were stress. The way he seemed to be getting sicker right after his marriage to Vanessa. She's going to do it again, Tyler whispered. She's already found her next target. Who? Tyler's face went white in the moonlight. Your neighbor, Mr. Henderson. The librarian's husband. I saw his photo on her laptop. Mrs. Henderson. The sweet old woman who'd helped me research Vanessa's past. Vanessa was already hunting her next victim. Do you know what it feels like to realize you're completely alone against a monster? When the police won't help and everyone thinks you're crazy. We made it to an abandoned gas station on the outskirts of town. Tyler was shivering uncontrollably, his lips blue from the cold river water. We have to call the police, I said, wrapping my jacket around him. With what proof? Tyler's teeth chattered. She'll just say we're lying. She's got lawyers, money, fake documents. He was right. We looked like exactly what Vanessa wanted us to look like. Desperate people making wild accusations. Then what do? Tyler pulled out a piece of soggy paper from his pocket. This is the password to the cloud account. If we can get to a computer. The paper fell apart in his hands. The ink had run completely. No, Tyler whispered, trying to piece together the dissolving fragments. Our only evidence.
Gone.
Have you ever felt hope slip through your fingers like that? When your last chance disappears right in front of your eyes. I wanted to cry. Instead, I got angry. Tyler, think. What else do you remember from her laptop? Names, dates, but nothing specific enough to convince anyone. What about the other families? Sofia Martinez said she hired a private investigator. Tyler's eyes lit up. The investigator who died in the car crash. What if it wasn't an accident? What if he kept copies of his research? We found an all-night diner 20 miles outside town. The waitress looked at us suspiciously. Two soaked, muddy people ordering coffee at 2 a.m. I used the payphone to call Sofia Martinez. Marlena? Are you okay? It's the middle of the night. Sofia, the investigator you hired. Did he have a partner? Someone who might have kept his files. His name was Detective Ray Morrison. He was retired, working private cases. Why? We think Vanessa tried to kill us tonight. Silence. Then, oh God, she's escalating. Did Morrison have family? Someone who might have his research. His daughter lives in Tucson. Sarah Morrison Clark. But Marlena, be careful. If Vanessa knows you're getting close to the truth. She already knows. I hung up and called information. Sarah Morrison Clark had an unlisted number, but I convinced the operator it was an emergency. This is Sarah, a sleepy voice answered. Ms. Morrison Clark, my name is Marlena Rivers. Your father was investigating a woman named Vanessa Cross before he died. Long pause. Who is this?
Please.
She killed my husband, and she's trying to kill me and my stepson. My father's death wasn't an accident, Sarah said quietly. I've always known that, but nobody would listen. Did he keep copies of his research? Everything. He was paranoid about losing evidence. Said Vanessa was the most dangerous person he'd ever investigated. My heart pounded. Where are the files? In a safety deposit box. But I'd need a court order to access them. And what if I came to you? Tonight. Arizona is 8 hours away. I looked at Tyler, who was listening intently. He nodded. We'll be there by afternoon. Sarah hesitated. If what you're saying is true, she's going to try to stop you. Then we better drive fast. We left the diner and hot-wired an abandoned pickup truck behind the building. I felt terrible about stealing it, but we were out of options. Tyler navigated while I drove. Every pair of headlights behind us made my heart race. Marlena, Tyler said as we crossed into New Mexico, there's something I haven't told you about that night at Vanessa's house. What? I heard her talking to someone on the phone. She said, "The river's job is almost finished, but there's a complication." "What kind of complication?" She said, "The stepmother is smarter than the others. She's asking questions." Cold fear washed over me. "Tyler, she's been planning to kill me from the beginning." "There's more," she said. "We'll make it look like a murder-suicide. Desperate stepmother kills boy, then herself. Very tragic." The truck swerved as my hands shook on the wheel. "She's not just after the money, is she?" Tyler shook his head. "She enjoys it. The planning, the manipulation, the killing. It's like a game to her." We drove in silence for another hour. The desert stretched endlessly in all directions. That's when I saw them in the rearview mirror. 2 black SUVs, driving fast, gaining on us. "Tyler, we've got company." He turned to look. "How did they find us?" "Doesn't matter. Hold on." I floored the accelerator. The old pickup truck groaned in protest, but we picked up speed. The SUVs were faster. They pulled alongside us on either side. Through the tinted windows, I could see men pointing something at our truck. "Get down," I screamed. The back window exploded. Tyler yelped and ducked below the dashboard. I yanked the wheel hard left, ramming into the SUV. Metal screamed against metal. The SUV swerved but stayed on the road. Ahead, I saw a sign. "Construction zone, bridge out." The road ended in 50 yards. "Marlena, the bridge." I looked at Tyler, then at the SUVs boxing us in. "Do you trust me?" "What? Do you trust me?" Tyler looked at the approaching cliff, then back at me. "Yes." I yanked the wheel toward the cliff and floored it. For a moment, we were flying. Then we hit the water below with a crash that knocked the breath out of me. The truck was sinking fast. Water poured through the broken windows. "Tyler, can you swim to shore?" He nodded, blood running from a cut on his forehead. We kicked out the windshield and swam for the riverbank. Behind us, I heard the SUVs screeching to a halt at the edge of the cliff. We'd bought ourselves time, but not much. As we crawled onto the muddy shore, Tyler grabbed my arm. "Marlena, I just remembered something else from Vanessa's laptop."
What?
"She's not working alone. She has a partner. Someone who helps her find the targets."
Who?
Tyler's face went pale in the moonlight. "Someone who works at the courthouse. Someone with access to marriage licenses, death certificates, property records." The pieces clicked into place. "Tyler, that's how she knew about Richard. That's how she finds lonely widowers with money and teenage children. And that's how she knows exactly when to strike." Above us, flashlight beams swept the cliff edge. They were looking for our bodies. "We have to get to Arizona," I whispered. "It's our only chance. But they'll be watching the roads. Then we go cross-country." As we stumbled through the desert toward the distant lights of a town, Tyler said the words that chilled me to the bone. "Marlena, what if her partner at the courthouse isn't just helping her find victims? What if they're helping her fake the marriage certificates too?" I stopped walking. "What do you mean?" "What if you and my dad were never really married either? What if she's been planning this for years? Have you ever discovered that your entire life was built on a lie? That everything you believed was real was just an elaborate setup?" The truck stop in Flagstaff, Arizona, looked like salvation. Hot coffee, clean bathrooms, and most importantly, no sign of Vanessa or her people. Tyler was exhausted. Dark circles ringed his eyes, and the cut on his forehead needed stitches. But we couldn't risk a hospital. "Call Sarah Morrison Clark," I told him while I bought first aid supplies. "Tell her we're 3 hours away." But when Tyler hung up the pay phone, his face was white. "What's wrong?"
She's not answering.
I tried 5 times. A cold knot formed in my stomach. Maybe she's asleep. At 3 p.m.? We drove the last 3 hours in tense silence. Tucson sprawled ahead of us, like a concrete maze. Finding Sarah Morrison Clark's house took another hour. The neighborhood was quiet. Too quiet. Sarah's house sat at the end of a cul-de-sac. Her car was in the driveway, but something felt wrong. "Stay in a car," I told Tyler. "No way. We stick together." The front door was slightly open. I pushed it with my fingertip, and it swung inward with a creak. "Sarah?" I called softly. No answer. We stepped inside. The living room looked like a tornado had hit it. Furniture overturned, papers scattered everywhere, family photos smashed on the floor. Tyler grabbed my arm. Someone was looking for something. That's when I saw her. Sarah Morrison Clark lay at the bottom of the stairs, her neck bent at an impossible angle. Tyler started to gag. I pulled him outside before he could be sick. They killed her, he whispered. Just like they killed her father. But they were too late. Whatever evidence Detective Morrison had gathered was already gone. Tyler, the safety deposit box. She said her father kept everything in a safety deposit box. Where? I searched through my pockets and found the scrap of paper where I'd written Sarah's address. On the back, I'd scribbled the name of her bank. First National, downtown Tucson. But we'll need her key, her ID. No, we won't. Tyler looked at me confused. Tyler, your dad wasn't the only one with secrets. I wasn't always a waitress. Do you know someone who's had to reinvent themselves completely? Someone who had to leave their old life behind? Before I met Richard, I was Emma Walsh. I worked for a small accounting firm that specialized in very discreet clients. Rich people who needed creative solutions to complicated problems. I learned how to pick locks, forge signatures, and get into places I wasn't supposed to be. I also learned that some rich people do terrible things to protect their money. That's why I became Marlena Rivers. Clean slate, new life, honest work. But old skills don't disappear. First National Bank was an old building with outdated security. The safety deposit box vault was in the basement, protected by locks that hadn't been updated since the 1980s. We waited until closing time, then slipped in through a service entrance I'd spotted during our reconnaissance. This is breaking and entering, Tyler whispered as I worked on the vault lock. They murdered Sarah for what's in here. I think we're past worrying about breaking and entering. The lock clicked open. Detective Morrison's safety deposit box was number 247. Getting it open took 15 minutes and 3 bent paper clips. Inside was a thick folder marked Vanessa Cross, serial killer. My hands shook as I opened it. Photos, bank records, copies of marriage certificates, death certificates, and insurance policies. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was the timeline. Detective Morrison had traced Vanessa's killing spree back 12 years. 12 years and 17 dead husbands. 17, Tyler whispered, reading over my shoulder. Richard wasn't her 4th victim. He was her 17th. And at the bottom of the file was a handwritten note from Detective Morrison. Suspect has inside connection at State Vital Records Office. Marriage certificates are legitimate but backdated. Real marriages last only long enough to establish legal inheritance rights. Partner identity unknown but has access to courthouse records in multiple states. Tyler grabbed another document. Marlena, look at this. It was a copy of Vanessa's real identity. Her real name was Victoria Chin. She'd been married once, legitimately, 20 years ago. Her husband had left her everything when he died of cancer. That's when she'd gotten the taste for inheriting money. There's more, Tyler said, pulling out a thick envelope. Inside were photos of Vanessa, with different men in different cities. Always the same pattern. Lonely widower, teenage children, large life insurance policy. And in every photo, there was another person. A man in a business suit who appeared at the weddings, the funerals, the court proceedings. Tyler, that's him. That's her partner. The man looked familiar, but I couldn't place him. Tyler was studying another document. Marlena, you need to see this. It was a list of Vanessa's next targets. Men she was researching as potential husband number 18. At the top of the list was a name that made my blood freeze. William Henderson, age 67. Widowed 6 months ago. Retired teacher. Owns property worth $800,000. Stepdaughter lives in Ohio. Mr. Henderson. Mrs. Henderson's husband from the library. She's already picked her next victim, I whispered. Tyler kept reading. It says here she's been volunteering at the senior center, where he plays chess twice a week. She's calling herself Victoria Martinez now. We have to warn him. With what proof? We're wanted fugitives who just broke into a bank. He was right. But I couldn't let another innocent person die. I started stuffing the documents back in the folder when Tyler grabbed my arm. Listen. Footsteps in the hallway above us. Heavy boots. Multiple people. They found us, Tyler breathed. The basement had only one exit. The stairway we'd come down. We were trapped. This way, I whispered, pulling Tyler toward the back of the vault. Old banks like this one sometimes had tunnels connecting to other buildings. Service passages for moving large amounts of cash. I found what I was looking for behind the last row of safety deposit boxes. A narrow door marked, "Authorized personnel only." It was locked, but these locks I could pick in my sleep. The door opened onto a tunnel that smelled like dust and decades-old fear. Above us, the footsteps were getting closer. We crawled through the tunnel in total darkness, the detective's files clutched against my chest. The tunnel ended at another door. This one opened into the basement of an office building next door. We climbed the stairs and emerged onto a busy street. That's when I saw him. The man from the photos. Vanessa's partner. He was standing across the street, talking on a cell phone and staring directly at us. I knew who he was now. He was the court clerk who'd processed my marriage license to Richard. He'd been there the whole time. Watching, planning, setting us up for Vanessa's trap. Tyler, run. But it was too late. Black SUVs surrounded us from 3 directions. And walking toward us, with that cold smile, was Vanessa Cross herself. "Hello, Marlena," she called across the street. "I think it's time we had a talk. Have you ever faced pure evil and realized you were completely outmatched? When all your courage dissolves and you understand you're about to die." Vanessa's men surrounded us in seconds. Professional, efficient, terrifying. Tyler tried to run, but they grabbed him before he made it 5 steps. "Don't hurt him," I screamed. Vanessa walked over slowly, savoring the moment. "Oh, Marlena, you've caused me so much trouble." One of her men searched my jacket and found Detective Morrison's files. He handed them to Vanessa without a word. She flipped through the pages, clicking her tongue disapprovingly. Poor Detective Morrison. So thorough. So dedicated. So dead. "You killed him." "I killed him, his daughter, and I'm going to kill you. But first you're going to help me tie up some loose ends." She nodded to her men. They forced Tyler and me into one of the SUVs. "Where are we going?" Tyler demanded. Vanessa smiled. "Home, sweetie. We're going home." The drive back to our hometown felt like a funeral procession. Vanessa sat across from us, reading through Detective Morrison's files like they were a romance novel. 17 husbands, she said cheerfully. I had no idea Ray had been so thorough. Though he missed a few. The real number is 21. 21 murdered husbands. Why? I asked. Why do this? Vanessa looked at me like I was stupid. Money, obviously. Do you have any idea how much money lonely men will leave to a beautiful wife who pays attention to them? But you could make money legitimately.
Boring.
This is so much more interesting. The planning, the seduction, the moment when they realize what's happening. Richard was particularly entertaining at the end. Tyler lunged toward her, but the men held him back. What did you do to my father? Digitalis, sweetie. A little bit in his coffee, every morning for 3 months. Perfectly mimics heart problems. He actually thanked me for taking such good care of him. Tears streamed down Tyler's face. I hate you. I know, darling. That's what makes this so delicious. We pulled up to a warehouse on the edge of town. Vanessa's partner, the court clerk, was waiting outside. Everything ready, James? Vanessa asked. All set. The murder-suicide scene is prepared. Police will find Tyler shot Marlena, then turned the gun on himself. Very tragic. Grief over his father's death, you know. They dragged us inside. The warehouse had been set up to look like we'd been hiding there. Sleeping bags, empty food containers, desperate love letters I'd never written. You've thought of everything, I said bitterly. I always do, Vanessa replied. James, show them what we found in Richard's safe. James pulled out a metal box. Inside were documents, photos, and a video camera. Your husband was smarter than I gave him credit for, Vanessa said. He'd been investigating me for weeks before he died. Unfortunately, he never got the chance to share his findings. She held up a video camera. Should we watch his final message? My heart stopped. Richard had known. He'd tried to protect us. Vanessa pressed play. Richard's face appeared on the small screen. He looked terrible. Sick, exhausted, dying. If you're watching this, I'm dead, and Vanessa killed me. Marlena, I'm so sorry. I never meant for you and Tyler to get caught up in this. Tyler sobbed. I wanted to comfort him, but my hands were zip-tied behind my back. Richard continued. I have evidence. Bank records, recordings of her phone calls, proof that she's killed before. It's all hidden in our house, behind the loose brick in the basement wall. Promise me you'll get Tyler to safety. Promise me you'll stop her. The video ended. Vanessa clapped slowly. How touching. Too bad he died before he could play hero. Where is the evidence? James demanded. Gone. I lied. I found it weeks ago and gave it to the FBI. Vanessa backhanded me across the face. Liar. If the FBI had evidence, I'd be in prison. She was right, but I had to buy time somehow. James, take some men to the house. Tear it apart if you have to. Find Richard's evidence. What about them? They're not going anywhere. James left with 2 men. That left Vanessa and 1 guard watching us. Tyler and I were tied to chairs facing each other. The guard stood by the door, bored. Marlena, Tyler whispered. The recording device you gave me. It's still in my sock. I'd forgotten. Before we ran, I'd given Tyler a small digital recorder to hide on him. Just in case. Is it on? Has been this whole time. Hope flickered in my chest. If we could somehow get that recording to the police. Vanessa was on her phone, pacing back and forth. Yes, I understand the timeline. We'll be done here within the hour. She hung up and walked over to us. You know what the beautiful thing is? Even if someone finds Richard's evidence, it won't matter. James has been altering court records for years. Any investigation will show that you 2 were unstable, grief-stricken, and dangerous. People will know the truth eventually. Will they? James and I have this down to a science. 21 perfect murders, and we've never even been suspected. The guard's phone buzzed. He stepped outside to take the call. That's when Tyler made his move. He'd been working on his zip ties the whole time. His wrists were bloody, but his hands were free. He lunged at Vanessa, knocking her to the ground. Run, Marlena. But I was still tied to the chair. Tyler grabbed a piece of broken glass and started cutting my restraints. Vanessa scrambled for her purse. I knew she had a gun in there. Tyler, look out. He spun around just as Vanessa pulled out the weapon. Time slowed down. I saw her finger on the trigger. I saw Tyler's eyes widen in fear. I saw the muzzle flash. But the bullet never found Tyler. Instead, the warehouse door exploded inward, and police officers swarmed inside. Drop your weapon. Vanessa spun toward the officers, gun still in hand. What happened next was chaos. Gunshots, shouting, Tyler pulling me behind an overturned table. When the shooting stopped, Vanessa was on the ground, clutching her shoulder. James and his men were in handcuffs. A familiar face appeared above us. Mrs. Rivers? Tyler? Are you hurt? It was Officer Martinez, the same cop who'd taken Tyler away a week ago. How did you find us? I gasped. Anonymous tip. Someone called in your location 20 minutes ago. Tyler and I looked at each other, confused. That's when I heard a voice that made my heart stop. Actually, I called them. We turned around. Standing in the doorway, looking very much alive, was Richard Rivers. Have you ever seen a ghost? Someone you watched die, someone you mourned, someone you thought was gone forever? I couldn't breathe.
Couldn't think.
Couldn't process what I was seeing. Richard Rivers stood in the doorway, wearing clothes I'd never seen before. He looked healthier than he had in months. No gray skin, no exhaustion, no pain. Tyler made us sound like a wounded animal.
Dad.
Do you know what it feels like when your entire world crashes down and rebuilds itself in 30 seconds? When everything you thought you knew becomes a lie. Tyler, Marlena, I can explain everything. You're dead, I whispered. I saw your body. I went to your funeral. Richard stepped closer, his hands raised like he was approaching wild animals. The body you saw wasn't mine. It was my twin brother, David. He died of a heart attack in Phoenix 2 weeks before my death. The warehouse spun around me. Twin brother? You never mentioned a twin brother. David and I were estranged for 20 years. When he died, I realized it was the perfect opportunity to disappear. To protect you and Tyler from Vanessa. Tyler was crying now. Angry tears. You let me think you were dead. You let me grieve for you. I had to. Vanessa was getting suspicious. She knew I was investigating her. If I'd stayed, she would have killed me for real, then killed both of you. Officer Martinez looked confused. Mr. Rivers, we're going to need a full statement. This is highly irregular. Richard nodded. I've been working with the FBI for 3 months. Agent Sarah Chun is my contact. Agent Chun? The same last name as one of Vanessa's victims. Agent Chun is Robert Chen's daughter, Richard explained, seeing my expression. When her father died, she started investigating Vanessa privately. She contacted me after Detective Morrison was murdered. Everything clicked into place. The anonymous tip. The perfectly timed police raid. Richard's miraculous survival. So, this was all a setup? I asked. We needed Vanessa to confess. We needed evidence that would hold up in court. The FBI has been building a case, but they needed proof of her current activities. Tyler stood up slowly, his face hard. You used us as bait, Tyler. You let me think my father was dead. You watched Marlena suffer. You let that monster take me away. Richard's face crumpled. I wanted to tell you. Every day I wanted to tell you. But if Vanessa suspected I was alive, she would have run. 21 families deserve justice. What about your family? Tyler screamed. What about us? The silence in the warehouse was deafening. Agent Chin appeared beside Richard. She was Asian, maybe 40, with kind eyes that looked tired. Tyler, Marlena, I know this is overwhelming. But your father's sacrifice helped us get evidence against the most prolific Black Widow killer in U.S. history. Sacrifice. Tyler laughed bitterly. He didn't sacrifice anything. He abandoned us. Tyler, that's not fair, I started. Isn't it? Tyler spun toward me. He could have told us. He could have protected us without lying to us. Richard stepped forward. Son, I made the only choice I could. Don't call me son, Tyler said coldly. My father died 3 months ago. I don't know who you are. Have you ever watched a family destroy itself? When love turns to betrayal and trust crumbles like sand. Agent Chin cleared her throat. We should continue this conversation at the station. Vanessa needs medical attention, and we have a lot of paperwork to process. As they loaded Vanessa into an ambulance, she looked at me through the back window. Even wounded and defeated, she smiled. This isn't over, Marlena, she mouthed. The drive to the police station was silent. Richard sat in the front seat with Agent Chin. Tyler and I sat in the back, but he might as well have been on another planet. Tyler, your dad did what he thought was right. Stop defending him. He loves you. Tyler looked at me with eyes full of pain. If he loved me, he wouldn't have put me through hell for 3 months. I couldn't argue with that logic. At the station, they separated us for questioning. I spent 4 hours telling my story to different agents, detectives, and prosecutors. When they finally let me go, Tyler was waiting in the lobby with Richard. They weren't talking. Tyler, I've arranged for you to stay with Mrs. Henderson temporarily, Agent Chin said. Just until we sort out the legal situation. What legal situation? I asked. Agent Chin looked uncomfortable. Well, technically, Richard is still legally dead. His marriage to you is complicated. Tyler's guardianship is unclear. But he's alive. He's sitting right there. It's going to take weeks to untangle this legally. Death certificates, insurance claims, property ownership. It's a mess. Richard finally spoke. Tyler can come home with me. Back to our house. Tyler stood up. That's not my house anymore. That's not my home.
He looked at me.
Marlena, Can I stay with you? At least until this gets sorted out. Richard's face went pale. Tyler, I understand you're angry.
I'm not angry, Dad.
I'm done. Tyler walked toward the exit. I followed him. Marlena, wait, Richard called. We need to talk about us. About our marriage. I stopped at the door. Do you know what it feels like to love someone who's betrayed you so completely that you can't find your way back to them? Richard, I don't know if there is an us anymore. But I did this for you. For Tyler. For our family. You did this to us. To our family. I walked out into the night air. Tyler was sitting on the steps, staring at the sky. You okay?
I asked. No.
But I will be. We sat in silence for a while. Police cars came and went. News vans started arriving as word spread about Vanessa's arrest. Marlena? Yeah. When this is all over, when the legal stuff gets figured out, can we still be family? Even if Dad's alive? Even if everything's different? I put my arm around his shoulders. Tyler, you're my family no matter what. That hasn't changed. Good, he said quietly. Because you're the only real parent I've ever had. Behind us, I heard the station door open. Richard stood there, watching us. He looked like he wanted to say something. But then Agent Chin appeared beside him, and they went back inside. Some things, once broken, can't be fixed with words. What happens when the person who saves you is also the person who destroys you? When your hero becomes your villain. The next morning brought chaos. News trucks lined our street. Reporters shoved microphones at anyone who walked by. The headline on every channel was the same. Local man fakes death to catch serial killer wife. Tyler and I watched from Mrs. Henderson's living room window as they interviewed our neighbors. Richard Rivers was always a quiet man, said Mrs. Parker from next door. But this is crazy, even for him. Do you know someone who's become famous for all the wrong reasons? When your private pain becomes public entertainment. Mrs. Henderson brought us coffee and homemade cookies. She'd aged 10 years since learning that Vanessa had targeted her husband. That woman was in my house, she kept saying. She sat at my kitchen table and smiled at me while planning to kill my William. She's in jail now, I reminded her. She can't hurt anyone else. But she did hurt people. She hurt you, Tyler, Richard. She hurt all those other families. Tyler hadn't spoken much since leaving the police station. He sat curled up in an armchair, staring at nothing. The doorbell rang constantly. Reporters, FBI agents, lawyers, social workers. Everyone wanted to talk to us. Finally, around noon, Agent Chin arrived with news. Vanessa's been charged with 21 counts of murder in the first degree. The DA is seeking the death penalty. What about her partner? James. James Morrison is cooperating fully. He's testified to everything. The falsified documents, the backdated marriage certificates, the systematic targeting of victims. Morrison? Tyler looked up. Like Detective Morrison? Agent Chin nodded grimly. James is Ray Morrison's younger brother. When Ray got too close to the truth, Vanessa recruited James to help her. Promised him money and protection. So, he helped kill his own brother? Greed makes people do terrible things. The front door opened and Richard walked in. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. Agent Chin, I need to speak with my family. They're not your family anymore, Tyler said quietly. Richard flinched like he'd been slapped. Tyler, please. Let me explain. Let me make this right.
How?
Tyler stood up, his voice getting louder. How do you make up for 3 months of thinking my father was dead? How do you fix watching Marlena cry herself to sleep every night? How do you repair the damage you've done? I saved your lives. You destroyed our lives. Tyler, Vanessa would have killed you both if I hadn't. Maybe. But you definitely killed us. You killed the family we were. You killed the trust we had. You killed everything good about us. Tears ran down Richard's face. Son, I love you. Then you should have trusted me with the truth. The room fell silent. Agent Chin looked uncomfortable. Maybe I should leave you all alone to talk. No, Tyler said.
Stay.
I want a witness to what I'm about to say. He turned to Richard. Dad, I love you. I'm glad you're alive. But I can't forgive what you did to us. I can't pretend that everything's okay now just because you had good intentions. Tyler. I'm not finished. Tyler's voice was steady now, determined. I've made my choice. I want to stay with Marlena. Legally, permanently. I want her to adopt me. The words hit Richard like a physical blow. He staggered backward. You can't mean that. I do. Marlena's been my real parent for 3 years. She's been my mom since before you married her. And when you died, when we thought you died, she took care of me.
She fought for me.
She risked her life for me. Tyler looked at me with tears in his eyes. She chose me every single day. Even when it would have been easier to walk away. Even when it cost her everything. Richard was crying now. Tyler, I chose you too. Everything I did was for you.
No, Dad.
Everything you did was to you.
To us.
There's a difference. Agent Chen stepped forward. Tyler, this is a big decision. Maybe you should take some time. I've had 3 months to think about it. 3 months of believing my father was dead. 3 months of learning what family really means. He looked at Richard. Dad, I hope someday I can forgive you. I hope someday we can have a relationship. But Marlena is my family now. She's my choice. Richard looked at me with desperate eyes. Marlena, don't let him do this. Don't take my son away from me. Do you know what it feels like to hold someone's entire future in your hands? To have the power to reunite a family or destroy it forever? Richard, I said slowly, Tyler's not mine to give or take. He's 16 years old. He gets to choose his own family. But we're married. You're my wife. Am I? Because legally, I'm not sure what I am anymore. Legally, you're dead. Our marriage certificate is meaningless. We can fix that. We can remarry. We can go back to the way things were. I looked at this man I'd loved so completely, this man who'd saved me from loneliness and given me a family. This man who'd also lied to me, betrayed me, and broken my heart. Richard, I don't think we can go back. I don't think I want it. Marlena, please. I love you. I know you do. And I love you too. But love isn't enough anymore. Trust is gone. The foundation of everything we built together is gone. Richard sank into a chair. So, what happens now? Tyler answered for both of us. Now we move forward. All of us. Separately. Outside, a reporter was interviewing someone on the street. I could hear fragments through the window. Shocking betrayal. Family torn apart. Justice served, but at what cost? At what cost indeed? Agent Chen cleared her throat. There's something else. The media attention, the trial, the publicity. It's going to get worse before it gets better. What do you mean? Book deals, movie rights, interview requests. This story has everything. Love, betrayal, murder, resurrection. Hollywood is already calling. The thought of our pain becoming entertainment made me sick. We don't want any of that, Tyler said. You may not have a choice. This is news. Big news. Richard looked up. I'll take all the publicity. I'll do every interview, every book deal, every movie consultation. Just leave Tyler and Marlena alone. It was his first selfless act in months. Thank you, I said quietly. He nodded. It's the least I can do. Tyler walked to the window and stared out at the circus of reporters and cameras. Marlena, can we go somewhere else? Somewhere they can't find us. Where? I don't care. Anywhere but here. Agent Chen pulled out her phone. I can arrange protective custody. Safe house. New identities, if necessary. New identities. Richard stood up quickly. You can't just disappear with my son. Watch me, Tyler said without turning around. Tyler, I have rights. I'm your father. Tyler spun around, his face hard. Dad, you gave up those rights the day you chose to fake your own death. You chose justice over family. Now live with the consequences. The silence that followed was broken only by the sound of camera shutters clicking outside. When do we leave? I asked Agent Chen. Tonight. Pack light. Leave everything else behind. Everything. Agent Chen looked at Richard, then back at me. Everything. Have you ever lost everything and everyone you thought you could count on? When the people who are supposed to protect you become the ones who hurt you most. The safe house was a small cabin in the mountains of Colorado. No cell service, no internet, no contact with the outside world. Tyler and I had been there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of silence, mountain air, and trying to figure out who we were now that our old lives were gone. Do you know what it's like to start over from nothing? To rebuild yourself from broken pieces? The FBI agent assigned to protect us was named Martinez. He was kind but distant, professional but not friendly. Any word from the outside world? I asked him one morning. Vanessa's trial starts next month. Media circus is getting bigger. Your husband, ex-husband, whatever he is, he's doing interviews every day. Richard was keeping his promise. Taking all the attention, all the blame, all the spotlight. Tyler spent most days hiking alone in the woods. When he came back, he looked a little less broken each time. Marlena, can I ask you something? We were sitting on the cabin's porch, watching the sunset paint the mountains gold. Anything. Do you regret it? Meeting Dad? Marrying him? All of it. I thought about it for a long time. I regret the lies. I regret the pain. I regret that he didn't trust us enough to tell us the truth. But I don't regret loving him. And I don't regret you. Tyler smiled for the first time in weeks. I don't regret you either. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Richard, alone in our old house, dealing with reporters and lawyers and the mess he'd created. I kept thinking about the life we'd built together. The small moments. Sunday morning pancakes. Tyler's guitar lessons. Richard's terrible dad jokes. All of it was gone now. Agent Martinez knocked on my bedroom door around midnight. Mrs. Rivers? There's been a development. I threw on a robe and followed him to the living room. Tyler was already there, looking worried. What's wrong? Vanessa escaped from custody during a medical transport. She overpowered 2 guards and disappeared. The blood drained from my face. When? 6 hours ago. Local police, FBI, U.S. Marshals are all looking for her. She's coming for us, Tyler said quietly. We don't know that. Yes, we do. She said it herself. This isn't over. She's coming to finish what she started. Agent Martinez was already on his radio, calling for backup. Pack everything. We're moving to a more secure location. Where? Classified. But somewhere she'll never find you. As we threw our few belongings into bags, Tyler grabbed my arm. Marlena, what if she finds Dad first? I'd been thinking the same thing. Richard was exposed, visible, doing interviews every day. He was an easy target. Agent Martinez, can you warn Richard? Can you protect him? Mrs. Rivers, my job is to protect you and Tyler.
Please.
Whatever he did, he doesn't deserve to die. Martinez hesitated, then made another call. Agent Chen, we have a situation. 20 minutes later, we were in an unmarked car driving through the dark mountains. Tyler sat pressed against me, scanning every shadow for threats. She's not going to stop until we're all dead, he whispered. She's not going to win, I said, trying to sound more confident than I felt. But Tyler was right. Vanessa had killed 21 people. She'd evaded capture for over a decade. She was smart, ruthless, and patient. And now she was angry. My phone buzzed. A text from unknown number. Hello, Marlena. Miss me? My blood turned to ice. Martinez, she has my number. He grabbed the phone, looked at the message, and immediately pulled over. Everyone out.
Now.
What's wrong? If she has your number, she can track your phone. We're compromised. He smashed my phone under his heel and got back on the radio. This is Agent Martinez. Package is compromised. Requesting immediate extraction. Static. Then, Martinez, this is Agent Chen. We have a problem. What kind of problem? Richard Rivers is missing. His house was found torn apart 2 hours ago. Signs of a struggle. Tyler made a choking sound. She has him. There's more, Agent Chen continued. She left a message written on the wall, in what appears to be blood. What does it say? Trade. Tyler and Marlena for Richard. Riverside Park. Midnight. Come alone or he dies. The same park where this all started. Where she'd first tried to kill us. Tyler was crying now. We have to go. We have to save him. Tyler, it's a trap. I don't care. He's my father. Agent Martinez was shaking his head. Absolutely not. We're not negotiating with a serial killer. Then my dad dies because of me. Tyler, your father made his choices. And I'm making mine. Tyler looked at me with determination I'd never seen before. Marlena, we can't let her kill him. Whatever he did to us, we can't let her win. Do you know what it's like when a child shows more courage than all the adults around him? When a 16-year-old boy becomes the moral compass for everyone. I looked at Agent Martinez. What if we had backup? What if it was a sting operation? Too risky. Too many variables. But possible? Long pause. I'd need authorization from Agent Chen. Tyler grabbed the radio. Agent Chen, this is Tyler Rivers. I want to make the trade. Tyler, that's not your decision to make. Yes, it is. He's my father. Marlena is my family. And if anyone's going to stop Vanessa Cross once and for all, it should be us. Silence on the radio. Then, Agent Martinez, bring them in. We're going to plan this very carefully. As we drove toward the FBI field office, Tyler stared out the window at the dark mountains. Marlena, if something happens to me tonight, nothing's going to happen. But if it does, I want you to know something. What? You're the best mom I never had. And choosing you was the best decision I ever made. I squeezed his hand. Tyler, you're the best son I never knew I wanted. Even if we both die tonight? Even if we both die tonight. But we weren't going to die. We were going to end this. One way or another. Tonight, the truth would finally come out. And Tyler would make the choice that would define the rest of his life. What would you sacrifice to save someone who betrayed you? How much love can survive when trust is completely broken? The FBI command center buzzed with activity. Maps, surveillance photos, tactical plans. All focused on one goal, catching Vanessa Cross. Agent Chen spread blueprints across the table. Riverside Park has 3 entrances. We'll have snipers positioned here, here, and here. Tyler studied the plans intently. What about Dad? How do we make sure she doesn't kill him before you can stop her? That's the tricky part, Agent Martinez admitted. She's going to expect a trap. So we don't give her one, I said. Everyone looked at me. Do you know someone who's been pushed so far that they'll risk everything for one chance at justice? What do you mean? Agent Chen asked. We do exactly what she wants. Tyler and I walk into that park alone. No backup, no weapons, no tricks. Marlena, that's suicide. No, it's strategy. She wants to kill us in front of Richard. She wants him to watch us die as punishment for exposing her. Tyler's eyes lit up. But if we're expecting it, we can turn the tables. I pulled out the small recording device Tyler had used at Vanessa's house. This thing saved our lives before. It can do it again. Agent Chen frowned.
How?
She's proud of what she's done. She'll want to brag, to explain, to make Richard suffer by telling him exactly how she killed 21 people. And we record her confession. Not just record it, broadcast it. Agent Martinez leaned forward. What do you mean? Tyler grinned. Live stream it. Facebook Live, Instagram, YouTube. Everything. If she kills us, the whole world will see it happen. And if she confesses first, the whole world will hear it, I added. Agent Chen was quiet for a long time. It's insane. It's dangerous. It violates about 50 FBI protocols. Will it work? Maybe. If everything goes perfectly. If she takes the bait. If she doesn't kill you immediately. Those are big ifs, Agent Martinez said. Tyler, you don't have to do this, I said. I can go alone. No way. We're family. We do this together. Agent Chen checked her watch. It's 11 p.m. If we're going to do this, we need to move now. 20 minutes later, Tyler and I stood at the edge of Riverside Park. The same park where we'd almost died 3 weeks ago. Have you ever walked back into your worst nightmare? When you have to face the monster that tried to destroy you. You ready for this? Tyler asked.
No.
Nope. Let's go. We walked down the dark path toward the playground. Every shadow looked threatening. Every sound made my heart race. Tyler had the recording device hidden in his jacket. My phone was set to live stream to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube simultaneously. Remember, I whispered. Get her talking. Get her to confess to everything. What if she just shoots us? Then at least the world will know who she really is. We reached the playground. Swings moved in the night breeze, creaking like old bones. That's when we saw them. Richard was tied to a bench 50 yards away. Even in the darkness, I could see blood on his face. Vanessa stepped out from behind the merry-go-round. She was smiling. Hello, children. So good to see you again. Let him go, Tyler called. We're here. You win. Do I? Because from where I stand, you two have caused me quite a bit of trouble. She walked closer. I could see she was holding a gun. Did you know that your little adventure cost me over $2 million? Insurance companies don't like to pay out when there are questions about the beneficiary. Good, I said. You don't deserve a penny of that money. Vanessa laughed. Oh, Marlena. Still so self-righteous. Tell me, how does it feel to know that your entire marriage was a lie? That Richard chose justice over you? How does it feel to know you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison? Am I? Because it looks to me like I'm holding the gun. She raised the weapon. But before I kill you, I want you to understand something. I want you to know exactly what you're dying for.
Perfect.
She was taking the bait. 21 men died because of their greed, Vanessa continued. 21 selfish, lonely men who thought they could buy love with their money. You murdered them. I liberated their money from their meaningless lives. I gave their deaths purpose. Tyler stepped forward. What about their children? What about their families? Collateral damage. Although I have to admit, some of the children were quite entertaining. That boy Jake, for instance. He screamed for hours before he finally stopped. My blood ran cold. She'd killed Jake, David Martinez's stepson. You're a monster, Tyler said. I'm a businesswoman. And business has been very good. Until your father decided to play hero. She gestured toward Richard with her gun. Tell them, Richard. Tell them how you begged me not to hurt your precious family. Richard's voice was weak but clear. I told her she could kill me, but to leave you alone. How touching, Vanessa sneered. The great Richard Rivers, willing to sacrifice #.